Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Jack, the Hoosier Hippie, formerly the Cyberspace Cowboy, and I'm here to provide you with news, information, and helpful tips for when you move to the Philippines. If you would hit that like and subscribe button for me, that helps a great deal and helps the channel grow. And I would like to talk today about something that I've noticed happening quite a bit. It's nothing new, actually. It's things that started that I knew about 50 years ago, that I witnessed 50 years ago. And that is the perceived superiority of the American or even Eurocentric people, uh, and mainly white people, over the Filipinos. When I was in the Navy, they were called all sorts of derogatory terms. Barbecue on the street was known as monkey meat. I hated that term. I knew people that sold the barbecue. I know how hard they worked. I know what they went through to get their product out on the street. And at that time, they sold 6 pieces of barbecue for a peso, I think it was. Of course, there was only, I think it was 20 pesos to a dollar back then. Maybe it was 6 pesos to a dollar. I don't quite recall. It was 50 some odd years ago. But the racist and sexist attitude that most, well, I can't say most, the racist and sexist attitude that so many have towards Filipinos. Um, Common things that I hear. Oh, Filipinos are only after you for your money. Well, my feeling is those guys have never met a Filipino that wasn't in the bar. Those guys haven't met a Filipino that wasn't in a bar. They've never met girls out in the province. They've never met a good, honest Filipino that's not necessarily looking for a wealthy husband. And I've gone over this in previous videos. They're not necessarily looking for wealth. Security, yes. Everybody looks for security in a relationship, whether it's financial security, emotional security, or mental security, whatever you want to put down there. But too many Westerners make it transactional because they're superimposing Western relationship ideology on the Philippines, on a foreign culture, on a culture that is so different from the United States that it's ridiculous. Uh, there are good Filipinos out here. There are good Filipinos that want more than just wealth or want more than just money. Does my wife love me for me or for my money? She loves me for me. I'm almost positive of that. Does my wife want me for the financial security and that alone? Or does she want me for something more? When I met Sheila, we became friends first. We weren't trying to play hide the sausage. We weren't trying to see who could come up with the best sexual innuendo. No, we talked as friends first. And having a relationship with Sheila was the furthest thing from my mind, actually. I felt that she was probably too young for me, and that it probably wouldn't work. I admit, at the time, a year and a half ago, I was worried, a little bit worried about the transactional kind of relationships, because I had gone on dating sites, and that was primarily what I ran into until I learned that the Filipinos that contacted me were not the Filipinos you want. The Filipinos you want are the ones that you have to go after. On a dating site, you have to initiate the conversation. If you're too aggressive, you'll turn them off. If you're too timid, you'll turn them off. If you display self-confidence, if you display honesty, if you display compassion, if you display kindness and a willingness to communicate, you will win that Filipina's heart. She won't care whether you have $1 million in the bank or $10,000 in the bank. As long as you have a monthly income coming in, they're going to be attracted to you for all those other qualities. Will they want you if you are unemployed and you come over here and you have no plan, no income, no job prospects, nothing else? No. No woman in the world's going to want you. You're a loser, quite honestly. You can't help yourself. You want somebody to take care of you. I'm not saying that women shouldn't do that, because there are a lot of women like that, and men will overlook that, and they will bring a woman up, especially in the West. But it doesn't get reciprocated. It's a double standard. And I'm not really very fond of that double standard. But traditionally, the man has been the breadwinner. But I've seen relationships that work quite well where the wife is the breadwinner and the man stays at home. He gets ridiculed by his friends as being a pussy, or being... He gets ridiculed by his friends for being wimpy, for not being a real man, whatever that is. But, you know, that it's a double standard that needs to end, in my opinion. So, in the Philippines, yeah, they're looking a little bit for their financial security. Most of these women that are traditional Filipinas, they do come from impoverished families for the most part. You're not going to see too many wealthy or well-to-do or highly educated Filipinas that are going to go out with an expat. It's not saying that they don't, because prior to Sheila, I had a relationship with a lady that was going after her master's degree, and she was very interested in me. It just, in a period of weakness, she began asking me for money rather than actually going out there and working her second job for that. I hadn't met her. I had told her unequivocally, I don't send money to people that I haven't met. And she got upset about that, and that coupled with the fact that I didn't want to live in Manila, that sort of exacerbated the situation there. And she didn't want to leave Manila because that meant that she would lose all her seniority in her job. I understand that. It just wasn't going to work, because I had no interest in living in Manila. I had no interest actually in living on Luzon, and given how much it got hit in the past year with hurricanes or typhoons, I'm glad I didn't. It's just not where I wanted to be. I wanted to be where I am now, in Cebu City. So this whole idea that all relationships with Filipinos are now transactional comes from a stereotype. It comes from the stereotypes of people my age who were in the military and had come to the Philippines either on rest and recuperation, or we refer to as R&R, or they came here because they were stationed here, or they were in the Navy and their ship came into port here quite often. I witnessed firsthand some really narrow-minded American sailors that had a very elitist attitude and a very superior demeanor towards Filipinos. They looked down on them. They made them feel like second-class citizens in their own country. I quickly learned that we're all guests here. That's even more evident today, ever since they kicked out the military for being a little bit too arrogant. They kicked out the United States Navy because they couldn't prosecute any of our sailors for crimes that they committed here. And they should have been able to prosecute them. I'm not talking about petty crimes. I'm talking about rape, murder, robbery, extortion, things like that. They kicked us out because the military would say, we'll take care of that. And they never did. Or if they did, it was a, don't do that again kind of thing. And Filipinos naturally resented us for that. So I work very hard to get people to overcome the morally superior attitudes that they have towards Filipinos, saying that all Filipino men are lazy and all Filipino women are easy. Let's put it that way. They're all bar girls. They're not. Most of them are very devout Catholics. Most of them are very traditional, and which is one of the main reasons I came here, is because I enjoy a traditional woman. But it's that definition of tradition, what traditional means, that trips everybody up. Traditional doesn't mean, I've got you under my thumb, babe. Doesn't mean that at all. Traditional means that they are loyal. They are dedicated to their man and their family. They are kind and compassionate. They like to have conversations and have a clear understanding of how they can please their man, but they also expect their man to please them. They also expect their man to be loyal. They also expect their man to be kind to those that are less fortunate. And they truly do measure the character of a man, especially Americans, especially white Eurocentric people, by how they treat those that can offer them nothing. If you're kind to a beggar on the street, if you're kind to the wait staff at a restaurant, they're going to have admiration for you. If you are rude to wait staff, if you're a Karen or a Kevin or Ken or whatever you want to call them, which means that nothing can satisfy you and nothing is good, and no, I'm not going to give you a tip because you don't deserve one. You didn't. You messed up my meal. You messed this up. You messed that up. Or ooh, you're dirty and poor, I don't want to be anywhere near you. If you act like that around them, you're not going to get very far with them. But if you show compassion, if you show equality, if you show that you can walk into a relative's house and not go, ew, but you just accept where they live. You accept who they are. You accept the fact that they can't afford air conditioning. You accept the fact that their house may not be the cleanest place you've ever been, but they take pride in what they have. And you should too. You should find some way to compliment them. So that's my rant for the day. I want people to quit being snobby. Quit being I don't know, what term do I want to use? Quit being elitist. Quit being entitled. Be accepting. Open up your heart to these people. Open up your warmth to these people, and they'll be the best people you ever knew. Thank you, and remember, subscribe and hit that like button as well as the reminder bell, and I will see you the next time. Bye-bye.